Hi and welcome back to Wolves World for a match review of the FA Cup win at Molineux last night against Crystal Palace. Before I start the video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and tell people about the channel. First thing to talk about was the team selection. Nuno went big. Nuno went with about the strongest team he could have possibly put out, in my opinion, on the day. I think it was a tactic that showed Wolves really have some intent in this competition this year, and the performance followed that as we commanded from start to finish in all aspects of the game. John Ruddy had nothing to do, and the midfield and generally just the Wolves players completely dictated the possession with the amount of touches and passes they completed throughout the match. That being said, there are still a few points to talk about from this game. First point, and this is very positive, is Neves and Moutinho in recent weeks, including last night, are both starting to get shots from around the edge of the box. Yes, they've not really come close to scoring with them, certainly Moutinho, but that tactic is now something we need to add into our game because we have to get goals spread throughout the team. So I'm pleased that these two players, who are very cultured and certainly have the potential to score from range, are now getting in positions to take shots on. Next, Dendoncker came back in the lineup and Wolves won. I think there's a lot of people who have ummed and ahed about him over his time at Wolves and what he really brings to the team, but I think the stats don't lie. Dendoncker and the wins is a positive correlation there, and him being in the side and being fit and returning to full fitness and the starting lineup has made a big difference to our team last night, and I think it will continue to do so as we move through this rest of the season. Obviously, huge positive, Adama Traore finally scored. Now this is something that I have been crying out for him to do for a long time, is not just run down to the right wing and put a cross into a box where we have low number of players normally against a stacked amount of opposition. Traore has to mix his game up, and he's shown a willingness to do that last night and a couple of times in a few recent games in flashes as well, and he's got to keep cutting inside. I wasn't convinced he had much of a left foot. I think he had one good and then one bad shot yesterday with that left foot, obviously the good one resulting in the fantastic goal that won the game. But he has to try something different than running down the outside. Yesterday I was thrilled with how many times he squared up opponents and went to his left, or squared up opponents and just knocked it by them. I thought he had another very productive game. Took a bit of time to warm into it, but he absolutely deserved to be the match winner yesterday, and that's an assist and a goal in his last two matches, which is probably the best he's done for a good 6 to 8 months. Another positive is the back four seems to become a bit more settled. We seem to understand how to play with the back four, which is helped in no small part by the fact Semedo has found some consistency to his game in both directions. I thought he was not the man of the match yesterday by any means, as some people are touting for, but I thought he played very well. Thought he looked pretty composed, albeit he wasn't really tested defensively against a Palace side who were pretty limp yesterday. And anything other than a clean sheet last night, I think, based on the play of theirs, would have been disappointing. So well done Semedo, and the back four, definite positive for me at the moment. Again, Neto is another player who's having a great season. I feel he's getting a little frustrated with people not getting the end of his chances. Last night was Silva. We also saw a few other opportunities where he beat players, and if he couldn't decide to go for it himself when he was probably already tired after a lung-busting run, or to sort of play a pass backwards or across to not maybe anybody. And he found that a bit difficult last night, and that's not the first time he's felt that way, in my opinion. But it's nice to see he's still got that hunger and desire, and so he should. And he will continue to be one of our best players as we move forwards. Okay, on to a few things I'd like to see improve. Obviously, Fabio Silva was very disappointing from yesterday to have missed that header from close range, and then arguably you could throw in the header from the corner was a chance he could have at least got on target. I don't think he was too challenged in his jumping there. But I have to give him time, and we have to give him time. We have to understand this lad is 18 and is not playing, or wasn't expected to be playing at this level this quickly or for this many minutes per match. And I don't want to mention this in all my videos, but I'm just getting a bit irritated by some of the Wolves fan base who are writing him off already, saying cash in, say we've been robbed, and I just think people are very unrealistic about what their expectations are of this player just because of the fee that he cost. we have to remember players like Dendoncker and Podence, who are established senior players, some, in Dendoncker's case, had international appearances, and they still took 6 months to get integrated into Nuno's team. And they didn't come in and set the world alight immediately. They took time, we had to warm to them. And this young lad hasn't had these opportunities. So give him time, be patient and support him, because if he's going to get anywhere, he's going to need the fans to be behind him in particular. And he's definitely got potential. You can see he's got a nice touch. He's got some good movement in the box. I think he is a little off the pace at the moment, and physically, I mean, he's 18. Physically, he's not ready. But you can see the signs there of a real quality player who could be a great player for Wolves moving forwards. And final sort of, I wouldn't say it's a negative, but observation point, Cutrone and Gibbs-White, I'm glad they got some minutes yesterday. I think it was important. If you're going to recall them, you're showing you're going to use them. So that was the right thing to do, to bring them on. However, neither of them really got a touch of the ball at all. Yes, Gibbs-White coming back from an injury layoff, and Cutrone's head must be everywhere from what's happened over the last 12, 18 months with his career. But I do think that they will need to be a little bit more involved if they are going to make an impact moving forwards. I do think that they will, and I think they'll get their minutes also, especially until we sign a second or third striker, you might say, in the transfer window. But I think they must get themselves involved in the game. They must come and really try and grab it by the scruff of the neck, because Gibbs-White and Vitinha are very similar style players. And at the moment, I would pick Vitinha over Gibbs-White just based on the fact he's been playing. And then Cutrone and Silva, I would say both are options that we'd ideally like to have as a backup, but one of them will have to be playing. So it is up to Cutrone to take his chances in training, and when he gets the minutes, he's really got to make an impact, which he didn't particularly do last night, but I can live with that as well. So just to finish, here are my player ratings from last night. I thought my man of the match for me was Neves. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. He did give the ball away a couple of times, but he often won it straight back. On the back of that, his long-range passing as the game went on in particular was tremendous, and his work rate and all-round energy really lifted the team at the times when Palace looked like they were going to start getting a foothold. I think Neves was the key reason that they never did. Other good performances, Semedo up in his consistency now. Let's, again, like Silva, we needed to give him time. We have, and I hope that this is sort of a turning point now where his performances are staying sort of in the 7s and 8s out of 10 each week, but well done to him. And then the other sort of highlights were Traore, who I think has got his goal now, and he's got to have some confidence, and he's got to be playing for this contract he wants. So I think Traore, this could be another turning point like the last game with an assist where we see a bit more from him. So well done to him as well. No real weaknesses in the player ratings last night. I thought it was a very easy game for Wolves that we dominated throughout, which I wasn't sure it would go that way, but I'm glad it did. On to the next round. I would like to see us take on another competitive, decent team, which will force us to play a strong team, which on their day could be anybody, which will help us maintain this chance of an FA Cup run. Playing someone in the Championship League 1 can often be a stumbling point for teams because you can't decide whether to play youngsters or go with the strongest outfit, and I just think Wolves are a sort of team who don't score many goals. We could do with playing a decent team, which means we put out our strongest team and we progress. So well done Wolves last night, and on to the next round. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, tell your friends, and follow me on other platforms like my website www.wolvesworld.org. See you soon for a match preview of the Everton game. Bye bye.